So we're gonna start. I'm gonna start this lecture thing. Lecture thing. Hi. Sorry. Hello. Yeah. It did for a second. Hello. I'm back. What's up? All right. So we're gonna start this stream with just our basic cell shading. So for that, we're gonna color our little corgo. Corgi. Little corgi, but that's little bean. Okay. So to start out with, Procreate has this awesome feature that um, if you make lines, what is this doing? Um, if you make lines, duh. If you make a closed shape around whatever you're coloring, um, it'll fill it in automatically if you just drag the color over. It's really cool. So I'm going to start with that. And you need to watch your brushes too, because if you change them often like I do, um, it can get really messy really fast. Okay, so now that we've gotten our shape all drawn out, just to make sure, we're going to hide our line work just to see that it's all closed so that when we drag it over, it doesn't go all over everywhere. Ta-da! And then we have a really nice base layer to work with. It's really nice to do this beforehand. That way, you don't have to spend extra time going in and correcting a bunch of little mistakes later. Okay, so we're gonna do clipping masks today. I usually do alpha locks because it's faster, and I only really use 3 layers a lot of the time. But alpha locking just means that it it you can't color over anything that you haven't already colored over. It locks the layer. I think it locks the alpha channel, if that means anything to anybody. Doesn't mean anything to me. um, I'm not a designer or anything. I don't know. I don't know how design software works. Okay, so we have our base layer for colors. So we're going to do clipping masks, which it only hide. So it works like this. So let's say I want to color my corgi yellow, right? Let's just make it a big, big, big brush so that we can get all of it colored in. Right, so I'm making a huge mess, right? Huge mess. I'm doing that on purpose so you can see. Okay, so we got them all colored in. But again, it would take a lot more time because it would take a lot more time to clean this up. But because we already went in before, we can use a clipping mask to the layer below it, and it gets rid of all the stuff that we don't want. right? Isn't that cool? Okay, so to start out with, I'm going to color in the eyes, which I start with white. Okay, so now that's all the base. It's the base. We got the base all done. So now what I like to do is I take the skin color and I darken it just a bit. And I go in, and if you want to do this in multiple layers, you can. Um, if you add another layer, you can clip it as well to the layer, this one. It all works the same. It's just on top of, it's just like layers, right? Um, which I like to do that sometimes depending on the situation. So cell shading is very blocky. It's a very um, it's a very simple, very blocked out kind of coloring style. Um, it's mostly just to give dimension to what you are coloring without going full render and painting stuff. Gives it just a little more. Okay. So now that we've got that one and that one, we're going to lighten it for the ears. Just a little bit. Okay. We're going to go here too. Okay. And we need the bow. We should make the bow a soup green today. So cell shading is just, it's shading with very harsh noticeable shade. I'm I'm really bad at explaining things. I'm sorry. Okay. And I keep doing that. Okay. Now let's make her eyes also green too. I think that'd be good. Um, okay. And yeah. All right. So for the eyes, what I do is I go in with the darkest layer on the back. So the darkest goes in the very back. And then we're going to lighten it up slightly. We're going to do 3 different lighter shades. And I like to make little hearts in the eyes. A little lighter. Okay. Whoop. Whoop. All right, and then for the pupil, we're gonna go in with white and just give the eyes just a little bit of a direction where they're looking. Ah, there we go. Okay. Now this color, actually, this is a great coincidence. Um, I like to go in after this and put in a shade where the um, where eye the eyelid overlaps almost, just to give it a little bit more dimension, a little more character, if you will. But make sure that this part right here is super light, because if it's not, uh, you could have a demon bow down in your hands. And I mean, that's great sometimes, but you don't want that all the time. So, okay, so like that, right? It's really cute. So for the nose, we're going to take the black outline that I already have. We're going to gray it up. And then for the pink of the tongue, okay. So now that we've got this pretty much all shaded with cell shading, um, we're going to do an extra step, which is what I do. Not all artists do this, but I do because I like the look of it. I feel it gives it just a little bit more personality, and it makes it look less flat to me. So we're gonna go here. Gonna go into our line work that we did. We're gonna add a layer, and first of all, we're going to go to the shade color that we used before. Darken that up just a little bit, just slightly, and then go over the lines that we want to be that color. Do, 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 do. Okay. And making a mess, making a mess. That's fine. Okay. And yeah, let's just do all the stuff now. Okay. All right, so this looks like an absolute wreck. But when we do our clipping layer again, our clipping mask, it makes it look all cute, right? Okay. So go in and you just touch it up a little bit. Where you see there's some marks. And there you go. That's basic cell shading. Now, usually what I like to do at this point is I like to add a little blush to the cheeks. But that's not cell shading, or that's not like any cell or any like sort of, it doesn't really have a name to it. It's just using, I don't know. I don't know what to call it. But we're gonna go here. I have a set from Jing Sketch, I think is what, I can't remember what his name is, like his handle, but I will link it. I'll link the Gumroad link later if anyone's interested. And so I use this little soft brush and I go over and I lightly on the cheeks, very light. I took the shade color that the shade color that I grabbed before, and then I'm going to darken it just a little bit and put it right next to the eyes. That's still too big. I can't see that. Why can't I see that? Okay, we're gonna go a little darker. Okay, and then right here. And then we'll go and clean that up, just so it's not all over the eye. Okay. And then we're gonna make it a little transparent. And of course, clip it. Oh, clip it to that. Let's continue on this drawing adventure. Ooh, well, coloring adventure. So, we're gonna do softer cell shading. Oh, jeez. Basically, just cell shading what I've done before, but with a different brush. And a few more layers. So, like before, we're going to do a line, making a shape of like behind our line work, just so that we don't have to do a bunch of stuff later. And I already did that, so I'm not gonna waste time doing that again. So now that we've got that, we are going to make another clipping layer. This is Perry, my OC from a it's a story that is it's like a Cinderella story mixed with magic, and Perry is a fairy. But she's only fairy enough. She's only enough fairy that her skin changes color. So that's her thing. It changes color from the crown of her head down. And it changes rapidly. She could have multiple different feelings at once, and her skin will look like a mess. But for now, let's start with orange. Let's make her skin orange because she's in love. Let's just color in orange because she's in love. And for this, am I coloring up? Yeah. And for soft cell shading, I use the sketch render brush from the Jing set that I have. Again, I'll link the Gumroad. I'll link it to the Gumroad later. And her hair is brown, a mousy brown. No, it's back. We're back. Maybe I should just have this open like this and just have it on my screen, not behind anything. Okay. So we're just gonna color. I don't know who did this song, but I'm digging it. And also with sketches, sorry, you can be as loose or as loose or as hard as you want to be with the coloring. It's all up to you, depending on, because this is very much more a sketch as opposed to as opposed to a finished drawing. You can, yeah. So we're gonna make her shirt a little lighter gray, still gray though, because the thing with this brush is, as you can see, it's a little transparent. So when you make your lines, when you sketch out your lines for your line work, you can kind of see the color underneath of it, which again, it's all to your taste. If you don't like that, you can always go over it harder with a different brush, or just press hard and not worry about line quality. Well, not line quality, line thickness, I should say. Okay. And if y'all have any questions, just let me know, and I'll answer them to the best of my ability. Yeah. And Perry's full name in Greek, oh, okay. What are all of, oh my gosh. Okay, so how many color possibilities? It's any color you can think of. she has an emotion for. Um, and I haven't quite figured out all of them yet. uh, but, goodness. But the people haven't taken care of it. People haven't really taken advantage of her, or at least of that, because she's adopted. She's adopted, kind of. So her story is she was found on the doorstep of a lady who lives at the edge of the woods. She was found, and she's a baby. And so her adopted mother took her in, right? And around age 3 or so, she started to show this weird thing with her skin. And her adopted mother didn't like it. She thought it was really weird and really odd. So she told her to suppress it, which she can. She's very, very pale, and she's very tired. It takes a lot of energy to do that. So no one really has taken advantage of that yet. But I will say that when she does go, because the thing is fairies in this are not, they're considered dangerous because there was this huge war, and all this bad stuff happened between the fairies and the humans. And so she, being a fairy is a bad thing. So her stepmother, hold on, her adopted mother was like, we're just gonna pretend that you're normal. And so so she is very, very pale the entire time. And then when her to-be girlfriend comes along, who's a knight with the king's army, she's a very high-ranking officer, one of the highest ranks that you can be. And so she's a high-ranking officer. She comes to visit Perry's household to make sure that they're all good and they have everything they need, because the king in the kingdom is a very nice king and a very good king. And so he wants to make sure his subjects are all taken care of. And Andy, who is the knight, Andy notices her and instantly falls for her, even though she looks really tired and really unattractive because she's a servant. Because as soon as her adopted mother found out about her weird thing, she immediately was like, all right, you're no longer part of this household. You're now part of the help. So, which, not cool. Not cool. But she doesn't know anything else, so she just goes with it. And soon enough, when Andy's like, oh my gosh, I adore you, you are fantastic, I want to take you to the king and have him meet you. When she proclaims her love, when she proclaims her love for Perry in front of the king, no less, in front of the entire king's court and all of that, she bursts into orange. She completely loses her cool. And she just starts changing colors over everything, and like it's like in front of all these people. And that's kind of embarrassing. But meanwhile, Andy is in awe, and she just absolutely adores her even more. She's like, "Oh my gosh, you're gorgeous. These colors are beautiful. Wow, like this is so cool," right? Just completely in awe of her. And then from that point on, she's no longer like, she is basically told is basically told by Andy that she can't suppress it anymore. She's gotta let her colors show, because it's the most prettiest thing and everyone needs to see it. It's really cute. So there's more to the story, but that's basically what happens. And then there's a whole thing with the king, and it's a time. It's a time for sure. Okay, so again, we just do self shading like before. But this time I use a different brush, and I go in with instead of, why is that not, where is that? Hello? Okay, there we go. Instead of going in with two colors for the shading, which is just, the normal and then the shade color, I go in with two, I guess, to do the beige soft shadows, and then the more darker shadows. And it just gives it that much more dimension. That's all. It's just a little bit more rendering than before. Good, I'm glad. I don't really like that. There we go. Goodness gravy. You've never heard that phrase before? I've definitely used it. Okay. Alright, and her eyes are a hazel. A hazel brown. So we're gonna go in here again. Take that alpha lock off. I'm gonna do a clipping mask, just right off. All right. Okay, so then with this, again, we're going to do the 3 colors again. And we're going to do our little hearts because she's in love. Oh. I don't like that. Never mind. Okay. There's that, and then we're gonna color in her ear. Again, if the music's too loud, just let me know. I love doing the little hard eyes. I think it's fun. Yay, Emily original. Cool. Stop. Bruv. Bruv. Okay. No, she has a knight. No, this is a lesbian love story. There's no men here. No, no, she has a knight. Um, I don't think I have any characters that have a prince. I think they're all girls. Anyway. Oh. I forgot to do the bow. Ah. Ah, it's too dark. It's too dark. That's too light. Right? I mean, I've written heteros. I've actually written a hetero story before, but I was 12, and I didn't know I was gay. So. That's too dark. There we go. Alright. There we go. I think that's good. That's how you do soft shading. Soft cell shading. It's, like I said, it's just like what we did before, just with a different brush. And you add just a little bit more dimension. Just a little bit. Not much. It's just one more color. Or one more shade of a color, I should say. So, and then we'll sign it. Okay, now we're good. So that's that one. So it's softer cell shading. And then next we're gonna do soft shell. Oh gosh, this is a tongue twister. Soft shell shading, as well as showing you how I color my sodasonas. Well, not my sodasona. My friends' sodasonas, as well as just my soda characters. So, here we go. Sorry. Goodness. Oh. And you gotta wash your brush. Actually, for the base layer, I like to go in with my cell shading brush because it's got the hard edges, and with hard edging on a brush, it makes it easier for the algorithm that it uses to fill it in more proper. That way you don't have like any weird lines or anything. Let's go in, color this all in. All right. Okay. Okay. So now that we've done the soft shading, let me get her this a little. Oh, that's not dark enough. Okay, there we go. Okay. Now that we've got that, okay. So now that she is practically colored, the only thing that we need to do now is her eyes and her hair. So we'll do her eyes real quick. So her eyes are red because she's a Shirley Temple. So she's got a lot of grenadine. Oh, whoops. So she's got a lot of grenadine in her veins. So her base color is red. All right, so her eyes are done. Now, with sodas, I tend to make their hair a gradient. And so for male sodas, the foam or the white part of the gradient is on the top, like the top layer. Meanwhile, for girls, the foam or the white layer is on the bottom. This might, what? Oh, okay. Hold on. Let's just do this one. Okay. Hello. All right. We're back. So I do gradients. And I already have a gradient for her already picked out. So she goes from red to cream, then to a white. So what I do is I duplicate. Okay, so how I make the gradient, let me show you how I make the gradient. So let's just get rid of all of these layers really fast. Okay, so we're just gonna make a simple gradient. Let's say we're gonna make a watermelon gradient, right? So we're gonna need a kind of a pink. Okay, and then we'll do another layer for the green. Okay. All right. And so I have two layers on top of each other, or one layer on top of the other. And so with Procreate, you can go in and click freeform in the distortion transforming tool, and you can just slide this down where you need it to be. I'm probably gonna just make it a little bigger just so that it won't, when we, oh, hello. Okay, sorry, don't know what that was from, but we just go down to where we want it. So since it's gonna be a watermelon, we're gonna put it there. I want it around there. And we'll call that good. Oh, and then we go to adjustments on the layer that we want to blur. And we do Gaussian blur that we want to do for a gradient. And you just figure out where you want it to be, like where you want the color to stop. So obviously this is a bad example. So let's maybe let's make it more of like maybe a yellow. There we go, that looks prettier. So that you see how it gives that soft gradient. That soft gradient from yellow to green. Just by clicking Gaussian blur on the top layer. So that's how I got to that. I just did a bunch of them. I have a bunch of different layers to get the colors that I want. So that's that. There's that. So let's take this all back. All right. Okay. So to keep the integrity of the Gaussian blurs and all of the gradients that I made, I put it all in a group so I can duplicate it and then flatten it. So I can keep everything from before and just hide it. So now that I have that, I'm wanting to clip it to the hair, right? You know, but that doesn't look, that's not how I want it to look. I want the foam at the bottom, you know, and the red at the top. So what I can do is I can move it using the freeform again. I can just drag it up to where the edge of her hair is. I can drag it down, drag it over, drag it over, and then we'll clip it. We'll clip it. Oh, hold on. All right. And then what we can do is we can just go in and we can go in and just erase the parts that we don't need. All right. Oh, what happened there? There we go. All right. So we've got her hair, or at least the start of her hair. Give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna color in her bow real fast. Okay. So now that we have her hair all prettified and everything, we're going to add another clipping layer. And this time we're going to take usually I just do white, but with her, I kind of do a little cream, a soft cream color, and I go back to my cell shading brush, and I bring it down to 42% opacity. So it does this cool effect where if I overlap them, they overlap, right? So it looks kind of like bubbles. So then I start at the bottom and just go you just make it look like bubbles, like your hair is bubbling. All right. Okay. And then we do another layer of bubbles. But this time we do use the white. And we go in. And then with this layer, we're going to add goodness, we're going to change the type of layer it is. So instead of a normal layer, we're going to do color dodge or Is it color? Which one do I usually do? Basically, you can just play with these settings until you find one that you like. But I usually go with overlay or soft light. And I just kind of make it just a little more transparent. Just again, to give it a little bit more depth. And then for her, she's a Shirley Temple. She's a Shirley Temple. So we're gonna add not strawberries, we're gonna add cherries to her hair. So we'll go here, we'll make another one, another layer. Take the red that we have, just make it a little darker. And go in, draw a few cherries. Doesn't really matter where they are, just matters that she has them. Plus, they kind of float, so, you know, they kind of move around, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. And then we'll do a little shading on them. Okay. And then we add little stems, of course, because they're cherries. All right. And that's how you do her hair. Sorry, the last step to it is coloring the line work, like before. So we'll go to this one and we'll grab that shade, just color it over. Okay, and then Oh, yeah, good. No problem. No worries. All good. Okay. And then, actually, let's just take the pink from here. Okay. All right. And that is how you color a soda. Goodness, oh, oops. I forgot one very important thing, which is her blush. She's got to blush a little bit, right? So we go to our Jing sets, soft blush, really soft. Ah. That looks odd. All right, there she is. Miss Shirley Temple. All right. All right, I have one more. One more, if you guys would like. But I'm getting kind of tired. So I might just end the stream here, if that's alright. Yeah, I'm getting tired. So. Alright. Thank you guys for tuning in and listening to me ramble about stuff. Have a good rest of your day, guys. Alright. Bye.